Now, CNBC Africa's Alecc Hogg caught up with Bergman, CEO of Schein, on the differences that South Africans are making abroad and his thoughts on unethical capital markets.
I've seen him at conferences, yeah, but there are a lot of South Africans. Actually, South Africans are all over the world making a difference, whether it's in business or in the social responsibility arena or in the UN system.
Now, your story, you grew up in South Africa, you went to Wits, and what took you abroad?
We left South Africa in 1975. I'm actually from Port Elizabeth. Went to Grey High School, then to Wits, and we just went out, left the country on an exploratory visit, and never came back.
And what took you to the business that you now run?
I'm an accountant by background, got an excellent accounting education at the University of Witwatersrand.
Are you telling me you're a CA?
Yes.
CA, SA?
Yes, CA, SA, very proud of it.
Saka going to love this.
The highest, the most noble profession in the world, the South African Chartered Accountant. And went to America, met Henry Schein's son, Jay, joined the company in 1980 and became CEO in 1989. Henry Schein is the largest provider of dental, medical and veterinary products to office-based practitioners of healthcare services outside of the hospital.
Do you do much business with South Africa?
We just opened up an investment in South Africa. We invested in a dental distribution company in South Africa towards the end of 2013.
Now, you've been pretty active here in Davos this year. You were on a panel I see yesterday on unethical capitalism. Is it unethical, or can there be ethical capitalism?
Well, we had a very good discussion. Capitalism is the only real way to generate economic activity and progress. Having said that, like any profession, medical, whether you're a doctor, whether you're an accountant, you've got to be ethical. And business people have to be ethical.
But are the two not, is it not an oxymoron saying an ethical businessman?
Absolutely. Wow.
I'm
an ethical business person.
I'm the one.
Absolutely. The majority, the vast majority of business people are ethical, just like the vast majority of doctors are ethical, accountants are ethical, engineers are ethical, but there are sometimes unethical players in every profession, and yes, they get a lot of attention, and yes, the unethical players are responsible for the collapse of the stock market in the United States in 2008 with the Lehman collapse.
I guess that's the problem, isn't it? It's always at the margin where the news is made.
Yeah, precisely. It's at the margin where the news is made, and unfortunately in 2008 it was a marginal little issue that really brought it all down. The whole notion of not understanding fully what these securities were that were being sold, and a lack of regulation that brought the whole thing down.
The mood in Davos this year?
The mood in Davos is, it's back to business, although I'm a little cautious because there are some challenges around the world, but it's back to business. And I think the CEOs are focused on business, completely different to what you would have experienced there in January of 2009.
I found from the American delegation in particular, last year there was a little bit of an uplift in the mood from them. Yeah. This year it's almost buoyant.
Yeah, well, that's the nature of economics, isn't it? It's either feast or famine, and the delegation is, I would say, American business people are quite optimistic. Having said that, I would also say Europeans are leaning that way. There's a quiet optimism that you'll feel amongst European leaders this year, both on the business side and the political side.
And given that you've got a global business, are you seeing that in emerging markets like Africa, that we are now starting to move off the agenda again?
I wouldn't say the developing world is off the agenda by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I think a huge part of the growth of the world economy will, in the intermediate period, come out of the developing world. The developing world has had a big run-up. It may taper down a little bit in the short term, but in the long run, that's where the that's where the growth is coming from, and that's why we invested in South Africa. We're going to invest in Brazil. We invested in China. We invested in Thailand. The developing world is where the growth is coming.
Well, Stan, as you can see, the snow is now starting to come down quite heavily. We don't want to become standing snowmen. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Temperature to where you come from.
Well, but it's so good to have a South African here with us who's gone into the global environment and done well. And keep doing so.
Can I just finish off by saying the transformation in South Africa is remarkable. Don't look at the glass as half empty. View the glass as half full, because when you're standing from where I am, you're looking in, it's remarkable. When you're there, you may say this could be better, that could be better, but it's a remarkable transformation.